Improvement Pill here. So the other day, I came across a post on Reddit titled 50 Life Lessons from an 80-year-old. And I thought it would be fun to share my thoughts on each of these points with you. Now, just a quick heads up, I'm not going to cover all of the lessons. Some of them I feel like are repeats, and some of them I feel like just aren't that important. And I'll also be adding one of my personal lessons to the very end of this video. This is a very valuable lesson that I learned the hard way last year, so make sure you watch the video till the very end to find out what it is. Let's jump right into it. So point number 1, don't expect life to be fair. It was biased and it will be. I absolutely agree with this. If you think about it, life is sort of like a video game. When you start a new game, you usually get to pick the difficulty mode. Easy, normal, medium, hard, you get the point. Unfortunately, for the game of life, you can't pick what difficulty mode you start out with. You're kind of just thrown into it. But this doesn't mean that you can't play better than the other guys. In fact, you have the advantage of gaining significantly more respect from others and also more appreciation from yourself if you manage to play the game of life on hard or extreme difficulty and still do well. Nobody respects the person who just cruised by on easy mode, not even themselves. Point number 2, remember 80% of the success in any job is based on your ability to deal with people. Yep, most of the time people don't promote or hire based on who can do the best job. They promote and hire the people that can do a very good job, but are also likable. Because these are people that they will potentially be spending time with every single day. I don't want to hire or promote you, even if you would do a better job, if it meant that my life would become 25% more stressful. I just don't want to deal with that. Learn how to become more likable. It's one of the most important skills out there. Point number 3, wave at the children on the school bus. I think a more modern version of this would be to say hello to people wherever you go, because it's not really that hard to create a connection with another human being. We live in a time where more and more people feel lonely, but that's because we've gotten into the bad habit of closing ourselves up from those around us. Say hello, be the first to step outside and greet your neighbor, because we're all human and we're all in this game called life together. The more interactions you have with the people around you, the more you'll feel connected with the rest of the world. This can be a source of a lot of fulfilling relationships, a lot of memorable experiences, and ultimately a lot of joy. Point number 4, compliment the meal when you're a guest in someone's home. If you think about it, a cooked meal is one of the most unique gifts that someone can give you. When I cook something for you, I'm feeding you. I'm helping you live another day. I've paid for all the ingredients. I've taken time out of my day to make this thing for you. And it's not like other forms of creation such as songs or music, which can be given to a lot of people. If I cook the meal for you, it is only for you. Complimenting my cooking is a great way to show your appreciation for this thing that I created for you, for the kindness that I'm sending your way. Number 5, count your blessings. Yeah, it's pretty darn important to have some sort of gratitude habit. Life can seem tough and pretty dark if you focus on the negatives. So every once in a while, even better, every once a day, you should allow yourself to focus on the good. Because there is good out there. Good things have happened to each and every single one of you, and they will continue to happen. It doesn't matter how big or small these things are. Heck, one of the things I've been writing down is my love for the amazing soup that my hotel serves for breakfast. Spend some time focusing on the good every day, because if you choose to only focus on the bad, you will lose hope. And without hope, you will have no motivation to do anything. Number 6, marry only for love. So I recently watched a video about divorce lawyers, and one of them said that getting married is like playing the lottery. You're probably gonna lose, but if you win, that's great. Of course, this varies from country to country, but in the US, where we have a divorce rate of over 50%, I don't think getting married is the smartest move. If you really love each other, just live together. Number 7, become someone's hero. More importantly, you need to collect heroic moments, which is a concept that I definitely need to cover in a future video. It's incredibly important to have heroic moments that you can add to your memory bank. These are moments that will serve as reminders that you can look back on for the rest of your life. By having heroic moments, you can say to yourself, yeah, I am a good person because I helped that old lady carry her groceries up those stairs that one time. Yeah, I am courageous because I spoke up to that bully the last time he was trying to pick on that kid. Yeah, I don't give up because of A, B, and C. You get the point. Gathering heroic moments like these will allow you to choose and mold your identity into one that you can be proud of. Which actually brings us to the sponsors of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes with topics ranging from things like filmmaking, animating, storytelling, and they even have career-focused classes too. If you want to use heroic moments to change your beliefs, then you'll need to learn how to change the stories that you tell yourself. My storytelling class covers that and much more, and it's available on Skillshare. On Skillshare, you can learn just about any skill for a fraction of the cost of what it would take to learn that skill in real life. The first 1,000 people to click on the link in the description box below will get a 1-month trial for free today. I also recommend that you check out the class Creative Breakthrough, 8 exercises to power your creativity, confidence, and career. This class by Danielle Krissa teaches you how to become confident in your creative abilities so that you can unlock your creativity and start creating work that you are proud of. Now back to the topic at hand. Number 8, make someone's day by paying the toll for the person in the car behind you. Okay, so this is pretty specific. I think a better phrasing for this would be to do random acts of kindness every once in a while. Studies have found that by doing good deeds such as community service, you can boost your levels of happiness by about 10 to 15%, which is quite a lot. Give food to the homeless, open doors for people, give out compliments to cashiers and bus drivers. Little things like these will bring a lot of joy into your life and also to those that you interact with. Number 9, send your loved ones flowers. Think of a reason later. Things that people don't expect have 10 times more impact than things that they do expect. For example, if you buy your girlfriend or wife flowers on Valentine's Day, it's nowhere nearly as impactful as compared to if you bought it for them randomly. Showing someone that you love them on a day where everyone else does that doesn't do it good justice. If you really want to show someone you love them, do it on a day where they least expect it. People tend to treasure and remember moments like that for the rest of their lives. Number 10, show respect for everyone who works for their living, regardless how trivial their job. I think there was a story about a famous executive who would invite potential employees to eat at a local diner with him, and he would pay extremely close attention to how they treated the staff there. If they treated the staff poorly, it gives you insight on what type of person he or she is. This is a person who thinks he or she is genuinely better, more entitled than another human being. And that's someone that will only look out for themselves if they were to join your company. People working retail and service already have it pretty tough. They probably don't enjoy their job, so just don't make it worse for them. Number 11, keep a notepad and pencil on your bedside table. $1,000,000 ideas sometimes strike at 3 a.m. Yes, some of the best ideas that I've ever had came to me when I was out of the office, randomly on the train, in bed, in the shower, right? You name it. I've literally had moments where I was deep in thought in the shower and a light bulb goes off in my head, and where I've literally had to run out, dripping all over the floor to get to a whiteboard so I could quickly jot the idea down. The best ideas come when you are not trying to think of a good idea. That's kind of how it works. Your brain is always cooking up new concepts in the background, and you never know when a good one is going to appear. Number 12, answer the phone with energy and enthusiasm in your voice. The voice is a very, very powerful tool. If you think about it, it is, in fact, an instrument, and instruments can convey feelings. A sad-sounding melody played on the piano will make you think sad thoughts, while a happy, upbeat piano song will make you want to stand up and dance. Play happy and excited songs with your voice so that the people you interact with will feel happy and excited too. Use your voice to double the impact you want to make, to set the tone of the interaction the way you want it. You also need to practice learning how to play this instrument in general. Learn how to lower your voice when you need to. Learn how to change the pacing of your words. Learn how to pause. The better you get at playing the instrument, the better all of your future interactions will be. Number 13, send a lot of Valentine cards. Sign them, someone who thinks you're terrific. The lesson here is basically the same as point number 9, so I'm just going to skip this. Number 14, once in a while, take a scenic route. Yep. Take a new route the next time you need to go somewhere. Because when you take the same route over and over again, your brain starts to go into autopilot. You get lost in your thought and you don't even remember commuting to the place you're supposed to be going to. You've been driving for an hour and you literally don't remember any of it because you weren't present at all. When you go about life like this, you're not really living. You're like a walking zombie. But on the other hand, whenever you take a new route, your brain is forced to become more present because everything around you is slightly different. The more time you spend being present, the longer your life feels. Time slows down. It allows you to appreciate the stuff around you more, and this can be a great source of joy. Number 15, begin each day with some of your favorite music. Now, I don't know about doing this first thing in the morning every single day because there are a bunch of other habits that I think fit better first thing in the morning, such as drinking a glass of water or meditating. And I would personally change this to dance to your favorite music every day, which is one of the best ways to enter the flow state because it's one of the few forms of creation that forces you to move with your entire body. It's pretty hard to move your whole body to a song while daydreaming about something else. Plus, it's always a good thing to have some dance moves in your arsenal that you can whip out when you're in the right situation. Number 16, visit friends and relatives when they are in the hospital. You only need to stay a few minutes. If you really want to show someone that you care about them, being there for them when they need it the most is one of the best ways to do this. This relates to keeping in touch with your friends too. You don't need to hang out with people every single week to be their friends. You just got to show up to the important events. I have plenty of good friends that I talk to maybe only once or twice every single year. Lesson number 17. Take charge of your attitude. This is actually a really good point because it's your attitude that ultimately determines your quality of life. It's not the amount of money you make or how you look or what you own. It's the stories that you tell yourself that determine whether or not you feel happy and fulfilled with your life. Almost all things that happen in this world can either be seen as glass half full or glass half empty. You have to learn how to see things as glass half full because there are going to be some ugly things that will happen down the line that you will have no control over. That's just kind of how life works. But if you can reframe a glass half empty scenario into a glass half full scenario, at least you'll have the strength to push through the tough times. If you don't learn how to do this, you will lose hope easily whenever you're confronted with failure or tragedy, and you will be more prone to falling into downward spirals. Lesson number 18. Remember, no one makes it alone. This is absolutely true. When I first started working on this channel, I tried to be a one-man show. I did almost everything on my own. All the writing, all the animation, and all the audio work. And it was tough. I thought working like this would cut costs, but in reality, it just cut the amount of free time I had to enjoy my life. The moment I started building a team and delegating different tasks to people who actually enjoy doing those things and were also significantly better at doing those things than I was, that's when I started seeing significantly more success with the channel. And that's also when I started having a lot more free time to enjoy life. Great things are accomplished far faster and usually better with a team. Lesson number 19. Never waste an opportunity to tell people you love them. This actually reminds me of a somewhat depressing quote I came across on the internet not too long ago. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was basically something along the lines of, one day when you visit your mom, it will be the last time you ever get to visit her. And it really stuck with me because my parents are getting older, and it's sad to say, but it's true. One day I will have to say goodbye to them, and I might not be there when it's their time to go. Right? Not everyone has a chance to pass away on the stereotypical deathbed. Some people go suddenly without any warning. So it's important to show people you care about that you love them and that you appreciate them just in case. Also, I found that it definitely improved my relationship with my parents. I find myself being more forgiving and more considerate because I realize that this is not a relationship that will always be there. Lesson number 20. Be bold and courageous. Now, courage is definitely something that I feel like everyone should focus on cultivating because almost every good thing that's ever happened to me in my life was because I was able to muster up the courage and take the leap to do something that I was afraid of doing. Learn how to be comfortable jumping into the unknown because, like they say, fortune favors the bold. Lesson number 23. Beware of the person who has nothing to lose. I once worked with an ex-convict who was charged with attempted murder. He took a liking to me and allowed me to pick his brain. And I learned that when you don't really care about anything in life, you stop thinking about the consequences of your actions. Instead, your raw emotions take over. You have no reason to try and tame them, so you let them run wild. In his case, it was anger. But for others, it can be sadness, guilt, or even pride, all of which can cause you to take some very harmful actions without thinking. Which is why it's important to have something that can ground you like a loved one, a passion, or a purpose in life. This will give you a reason to try and tame the beast that resides within us all. Lesson number 24. Keep it simple. This one is absolutely true, especially when it comes to the world of self-improvement. Because every time I run the Habit Builder Challenge, I get a couple of students that tell me about all the habits they want to build, all the great things that they want to achieve. I want to learn how to play the piano. I want to learn how to speak German. I want to build a habit of cooking every day for myself. Now, don't take this the wrong way. These are all good habits. But remember the 80-20 rule. 80% of all the joy and fulfillment that you're looking for will come from just 20% of the things that you want to do. Look over that to-do list of yours and narrow down your goals to just one or two things and focus on those before anything else. You'll see progress much faster this way. Lesson number 28. Look people in the eye. This one is super important. Whenever you hold eye contact with someone for more than 2 seconds, there's this powerful sense of a connection being made. Because in this world with billions and billions of people, for a very, very brief period of time, you're solely focused on them and they're solely focused on you. And that's powerful. This is especially important when you're out on a date with someone that you fancy. You want them to feel this way. You want them to feel like it's just you and them against the world. That you're really, really paying attention to everything that they're saying. Holding more eye contact with people will also cultivate courage as it tackles one of the biggest fears that people have, which is social anxiety. Lesson number 29. Sing in the shower, or more specifically, spend more time in the shower. Now, there's actually some science to this. So there are different brain waves. There's 5 of them that we spend time in every single day. And when we're in the shower, for some reason, our brain naturally switches to using more alpha waves. And research says that this is actually the perfect state to be in for creativity, for coming up with ideas, for thinking about your life, for anything that's related to creation. And to be honest, many of my best ideas for this channel actually came to me when I was in the shower. And it's not just me. I was reading Principles by Ray Dalio, who is considered to be one of the best investors in the world. He's actually the 79th wealthiest person in the entire world as of February 2020. And in the book, he says that he spends a lot of time in the shower because his best ideas come to him there as well. Lesson number 31. If in a fight, hit first and hit hard. To be honest, the few times that I've been in situations where a fight was about to go down, I've always somehow managed to talk my way out of it. But this piece of advice definitely applies to business as well. If you have a good business idea, one that you think would do well, it's very important to execute as soon as possible. Yes, you should do some research beforehand just to make sure that this is a good idea. But if you've already convinced that this is the right thing to do, you need to take action ASAP. When I first got the idea for this channel, I literally picked the name the next day and I uploaded my first video in a little bit more than a week after that. So many of us are obsessed with perfect execution. But the thing is, what you think is perfect is probably not what the rest of the world thinks is perfect. It's better to quickly execute on an idea, put it out there, see how others react, and then make adjustments down the line. We got lesson number 32, keep secrets, or even better, I think this should say, keep your word. Your ability to stay true to your word, to be able to do what you say you're going to do, will affect how others perceive you. You're going to have a real tough time forming long-lasting relationships and doing business if people think that you're unreliable. Keeping your word will also improve your self-esteem. If you're someone who makes a lot of promises to others or even to yourself and you constantly break them, then all you're doing is reinforcing the idea that whatever you say isn't important. If your words have little value, then you yourself will have little value. Lesson number 39, do nice things for people who will never find out. Or a better alternative is to do good things without telling other people. You see this all the time on YouTube where someone goes up to a homeless person, gives them a bunch of cash, but is recording the entire interaction so that they can then post the video online. When you do a good deed, but then use it as content to gain views and likes, are you really doing it because you're a good person, or are you doing it to profit in some indirect way? It's much more powerful to do good deeds and keep it to yourself, because then it'll mean that you're not in it for the money, the attention, or the validation. You do good deeds because you genuinely want to help people out, and this will change the way you view yourself for the better. Your sense of self-worth will increase because, well, you become someone who can add value to the lives of others. Lesson number 40. Lend only those books you never care to see again. This actually applies to money more so than books in my opinion, because out of all the times I've lent money to people in my life, I would say that I've only ever been paid back maybe 10% of the time. You have to realize that if someone is desperate enough to be in a position where they have to ask you for money, then there is a very high chance that they have a bunch of bad habits that put them in that position in the first place. Sure, you'll have the occasional person who gets hit with a ridiculous amount of bad luck and falls into tough times, but most people who are broke because of their habits, and chances are they will continue to struggle financially even after using up the money they've borrowed. So over the years, I've just learned to accept this fact. If I lend someone money, I'm basically giving it away, and I don't expect to see it back. This is actually a good way to see who your true friends are, because real friends will understand the value of paying you back and will go out of their way to make sure they return what you are owed. Lesson number 42. When playing games with children, let them win. Once in a while, that is. Because in order for someone to have fun in any sort of game or challenge, they need to be able to win at least 1/3 of the time. If it's any harder, then the experience becomes too frustrating and they will lose the motivation to play. On the other hand, if it's too easy, if you let them win all of the time, then the experience becomes boring and they will again lose their motivation to play. This piece of advice applies to learning skills as well. You want to find the sweet spot in regards to the difficulty level when practicing any skill so that you will continue to feel motivated to work on it. Lesson number 43. Give people a second chance, but not a third. Okay, everyone makes mistakes, but making two of the same mistake in a very short period of time, yeah, that's a huge red flag. That just shows you what type of person they really are. And you have to understand that it's actually extremely hard for people to change. People don't change unless their habits change. So it doesn't matter what sort of amazing speech you give them or how much more time and energy you devote to them, they're probably going to disappoint you again. If you really want to give a loved one a third chance, then you should probably wait until they've genuinely showed you that they've changed first. Pay close attention to their actions over a period of time. Don't just listen to their words. Lesson number 47. Don't allow the phone to interrupt important moments. Nowadays, whenever I go to a concert or rave or even the club, I see tons of people holding up their phones, recording the experience and putting it on social media. The purpose of you being at these events is to enjoy the music, to feel the energy in the room, to have fun with your friends. You're not there to gather another highlight reel, to show people that you have a life. And also, it's not like you're the only one that goes to events like these and records it. Everyone does it nowadays, so it's not even special anymore. You're not impressing anyone. Put down the phone and focus on what's in front of you. You'll feel happier when you do this because it's nearly impossible for you to enjoy the moment when you're double checking your phone to see how many likes and comments you got from that new clip you posted on your story. Lesson number 48 and lesson number 49. Be a good loser and be a good winner. Yeah, there are going to be people who are better than you at things in life, and there are going to be people who are worse than you at things in life. In either case, you must be careful of how your ego reacts. When confronted with someone who is better than us at something, our ego will instinctively act defensively. Don't allow yourself to get angry or upset because they bested you. Realize that you have much to learn from this person and take on the position of a student. Ask them for their advice and figure out how to get better. When confronted with someone who is worse than us at something, our ego will instinctively act aggressively. In these cases, resist the urge to crush their spirit and remember to be humble. You can try to take on the position of a teacher and give them some pointers, but also realize that some people do not want to be taught. In those cases, just let it go. And last but not least, the one big lesson that I learned last year. Happiness resides in the present moment, so spend more time there every single day. To be honest, this is a lesson that I came across many, many years ago when I first read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And it's the idea that the past and the future technically are not real, right? You can only think about them. You can't physically live in the past or the future. The only place you can ever physically be in is the present moment. Yet we spend so little of our time and energy focused on the present. I think it's safe to say that most people are in the present moment less than 1% of their day. Instead, they're either lost in thought thinking about the past or the future, or they're distracting themselves with social media and entertainment and even substances. And this is not good because we do all of these things thinking that it will lead us to true happiness, when in reality, true happiness is almost always found in the present moment. Last year, I spent a lot of my time focused on growing the business. I was taking meditation less seriously, and I wasn't dancing as much as I used to. I was lost in the clouds almost every day, worrying about my next big project, and this resulted in a noticeable decline in my mood. And that's why for my New Year's resolution this year, I decided to focus on taking meditation more seriously and to spend more time dancing. This way I can increase the amount of time I spend in the present moment every single day. And trust me, it doesn't take much to see the benefits. Going from spending 1% of your day being present to even just 5% will lead to a very noticeable difference. So make sure to remind yourself about this whenever you find yourself obsessing over something that you feel like you need to get in order to be happy. Happiness does not live in that object or that person or that achievement. Happiness can be found by simply being present and focusing on everything that is literally in front of you right now as you hear these words. This concludes our mini-series on the 50 life lessons. Let me know in the comments down below which one stood out to you the most. I'm curious to see what you guys will say. And besides that, guys, stay tuned.